I wonder if Marvel will make Avengers Doomsday from the POV of RDJ's Doctor Doom, like Thanos in Infinity War. If Marvel wants to rival Avengers, Infinity War and Thanos with Avengers, Doomsday and Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom, the latter should copy the former's villain POV trick. Robert Downey Jr. was the first name ever confirmed on Avengers Doomsday's cast list, with the shock announcement at 2024's San Diego Comic-Con panel ratcheting up the excitement for the 2026 film. Since then, more updates about Avengers Doomsday's story, cast, and release date have only further increased the hype for the first installment in the series since 2019's Avengers Endgame. Beyond this, though, the most intriguing part about the upcoming Marvel movie remains Robert Downey Jr.'s casting as the iconic Marvel villain, Doctor Doom. Many are curious to see whether the gamble of hiring an actor synonymous with an MCU hero like Iron Man as a major villain will pay off, as well as whether the character of Doom will be depicted correctly. To succeed in this and make Avengers Doomsday's villain one of the MCU's best, the film could copy Avengers Infinity War's Thanos POV trick, and I am very curious to see if Marvel will do so. Firstly, it is worth exploring the Thanos trick from Avengers Infinity War. In the comics, Thanos was known as the Mad Titan, who sought out the Infinity Gauntlet to wipe out half of all life in the universe as a means of appeasing Lady Death, whom he was infatuated with. This motivation has some depth to it, but is admittedly too far-fetched to make Thanos' actions believable, sympathetic, and easy to invest in. In Avengers Infinity War, the MCU changed that by giving Thanos a much more noble motivation. The MCU depicted Thanos as someone who had to watch his planet, Titan, be destroyed, along with everyone who lived on it. Thanos predicted this would happen as the planet's soaring population would lead to environmental issues and the destruction of his race, something that eventually came to pass. Thanos' motivation for the blip in the MCU was to remove half of all life in the universe, so that other planets would not suffer the same fate as Titan. Thanos was more of a protagonist of Avengers Infinity War than the likes of Captain America or Iron Man, as proven by the villain receiving the most amount of screen time in the film. Throughout Avengers Infinity War, this code of belief was highlighted at several points. In fact, entire scenes were dedicated to Thanos' motivations, making the character a much deeper depiction of his comic book counterpart with more believable, almost sympathetic motivations than the strongest of MCU villains. In many ways, Thanos was more of a protagonist of Avengers Infinity War than the likes of Captain America or Iron Man, as proven by the villain receiving the most amount of screen time in the film at 29 minutes, over 10 minutes more than the character in Second, Gamora. Stemming from this, I could easily see Marvel Studios repeating this with RDJ's Doctor Doom in Avengers Doomsday. For one, it proved incredibly effective with Avengers Infinity War, with the film often being considered among the best of the MCU's many movies, and Thanos regarded as the franchise's best villain. Beyond this obvious benefit of making Doom a main character of Avengers Doomsday, there is an actor as talented and beloved as Robert Downey Jr. in the role. Overall, I think it is safe to say that Robert Downey Jr.'s casting as Doctor Doom is one of the single most discussed choices in comic book movie history. Marvel knew this would be the impact it had on the wider audience, explaining why such a big moment of it was made at SDCC 2024. With that in mind, I cannot see why Marvel would cast Robert Downey Jr. in the role just to give him a smaller villain role akin to the MCU's lesser-beloved villains. With RDJ, a main role is all but guaranteed. Another reason as to why I could see Avengers Doomsday having its titular villain as a main character is the benefit it would bring to the narrative. The heroes confirmed as part of Avengers Doomsday's cast are fairly disparate, be it the Avengers who have little connection to the Thunderbolts, or the Fantastic Four who are from an entirely separate universe. If the film played out from Doom's perspective, the narrative would have a central focal point, just as Thanos brought to Avengers Infinity War when there were 3 different bands of heroes facing off against him and his forces. If the studio chooses to make Doom the main character in Avengers, Doomsday and replicate former successes, this would also bring several benefits regarding Doom's character and his MCU future. Where Doom himself is concerned, Avengers, Doomsday will be his first MCU appearance, discounting any small potential cameo he could have in the story of the Fantastic Four first steps, therefore making him the main character of Avengers.